it is now presumed that people have lost their lives. So the work of these first responders, the work of these divers, I cannot stress enough how remarkable these individuals are.
But Governor, you talk about the rebuild, specifically this port, huge economic impact for the state.
It's a huge economic impact for the country. And that's why I think when we've seen how the entire country has rallied around Maryland and rallied around Baltimore, it's because that they understand that the Port of Baltimore is not just impacting Maryland. If you look at this, this port is responsible for over 51 million tons of foreign cargo. That's the largest in the country. That for everybody who is buying cars, for everybody who is buying farm equipment, we're the largest port in the country that does that. So this is not just impacting Maryland. This is impacting that farmer in Kentucky. It's impacting that auto dealer in Michigan. And so it is imperative that we get this bridge rebuilt. It's imperative that we get the Port of Baltimore back up and going. And it's not just about how are we supporting Maryland. This is about how we're supporting the American economy.
We had something similar in Pennsylvania last year in Philadelphia with the 95 bridge. Have you heard from Governor Shapiro, and who else have you heard from around the country offering any sort of help or words of encouragement?
I've been overwhelmed by the amount of outreach that we've received from governors from around the country, both Democrat and Republican. From the amount of outreach that we received from philanthropists, from people who are just asking how can they help. And so Maryland, we really appreciate the love that's been coming from around the country and the support. And I tell them the people who need it most are these families.
Governor, what's the top priority going forward? The recovery is now underway. But what is the top priority now that you're kind of shifting more into the investigation?
Yeah, well, the top priority for me right now is still the recovery. We've got to bring these families closure. I promise these families that I would instruct every single asset that we have to focus on that search and rescue, air, land, and sea assets to focus on search and rescue. Now that we've transitioned to the recovery phase, my promise to them is this: I will devote every single resource to making sure that you receive closure, and that has to be important.